I've always built my service around San Diego, driven by tourism, the military, science and innovation. So I think creating jobs in the innovation economy is really important. I'm on a new committee, Energy and Commerce, that has that jurisdiction. I'll be also on the Veterans Committee this year, the Veterans Affairs Committee, so I'll be continuing my work to serve veterans, make sure that they're taken care of, have opportunities to get employment. And then I would continue to keep an eye on the important investment of the military in San Diego and the partnership between San Diego and our national defense.
You talk about partnership. What about the partnership between the rest of the congressional delegation?
I'm really proud of how well the five of us work together on San Diego issues. I think it started with the $500 million we got to help finish the investment at the San Ysidro border crossing. We knew that delays were at the border were costing the economy tens of thousands of jobs, billions of dollars of economic activity. And the five of us came together, and we don't always vote alike, but on San Diego stuff we were able to work together, and we've continued to see that, that we can come together on regional issues. And I think it's a pretty good set of working operatives right now in our delegation.
Talk to me a little bit about the political climate in Washington, D.C. these days.
One of the most surprising things to me when I even started, and this is now my third term, so I started in 2013, was how political it is. You know, when I was the city council president, we didn't really worry too much about who was a Democrat and who was a Republican. But that seems to be very much more defining in terms of the political landscape right now. And now we're going into an era where, you know, with President Trump, it's an added overlay, a lot of kind of angry talk that's comes from the Republican base about immigration, and so I think you know, and it's not that people are mean to each other, but it's really hard to find that middle ground sometime, even though that's where I try to be.
So how do you make legislative progress? How do you get bills? How do you get that cooperation across the aisle?
Well, I've come off 2 terms on the Armed Services Committee, and that was a naturally bipartisan effort. It's all about, you know, building relationships and trust with your co-legislators, making sure that you understand their interests, what they need, and you make sure they know what you need, and give a sense that you'll take care of each other. This is my second term on our bipartisan working group, which is a group of 13 Democrats and 13 Republicans who get together every week and work on areas. We're not going to fix the tax code there or immigration law, but we work on areas where we could agree on smaller things from a DC perspective, but that could make a big difference. And that's what we'll have to do. I think that the Republicans aren't going to be under some pressure to be a little bit more independent from the president, because he's proposing a lot of things that aren't naturally Republican ideas. He's sort of anti-trade. I'm a pro-trade Democrat, one of the few, and he's, you know, the way he's talking about a border adjustment tax and the wall is kind of antithetical to a lot of Republican ideas. He's sort of pro-Russia in a way that's not been traditionally Republican. And the way he's treated immigration is really bad for the business community. The Chamber of Commerce really wanted to do immigration reform. That doesn't seem to be the direction this president's headed. So I think Republicans in Congress are going to have to reach a point where they step up and say, listen, we're going to work with reasonable Democrats and other Republicans to get things done, and I'll be looking for that moment.
Is that a moment that you think will happen sooner rather than later?
I'm amazed at how closely they've held on to the Trump presidency even this far. We're a month in. Some of the stuff he said has been remarkable. The whole issues around his tax returns and owning a hotel, that's got to concern a reasonable legislator. The whole relationship with Putin, just to let that slide by, I don't think that goes on for long. So I'm surprised it's taken this long. I think there will be pressure growing over time from the country to take up some of these issues that we all can agree on in terms of ethics.
Congressman Scott Peters, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Erik.